So these videos will make you question everything. So remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's check it out.
Wait, so y'all really mean to tell me you guys don't know what this is? How does nobody know what CERN is, bro? If you don't know what this is, you need to watch this video right now. So CERN is this large facility located in Switzerland. They have what's called a Large Hadron Collider. This is what it looks like. This is the size of it, guys. Look at that. You may be asking, like, what even is that? I'm not even gonna get too scientific with this. The Large Hadron Collider is basically this thing, this circle, right? It has particles going around the circle at like 11,000 times per second. Guys, their goal is to find out how this universe was created by finding dark matter. So yes, you have scientists on Earth, somewhere located in Switzerland, running particles at 11,000 times per second, trying to create dark matter.
CERN did something after the solar eclipse that's going to affect the whole world.
The solar eclipse might be the beginning of the end. At the exact same time as the eclipse, CERN will be activating a $4 billion machine to try and recreate the conditions of the Big Bang that created our universe.
Can't be good.
This machine has never been fully activated before, and many scientists believe that it could open a black hole that could either destroy our world or allow other entities to come through it and enter our world. The scariest part about this is that outside the facility where this machine is located, there is a statue of Shiva, a god also known as the Destroyer of Worlds. There was also a video that came out showing a strange ritual happening at CERN. And if you take a close look at CERN's logo, you'll see that there are 3 sixes, the devil's number.
Y'all, I think I know what CERN was doing while this eclipse was happening. Do you see this? There is so many different videos and footage of demons flying by the sun. I'm about to show you another one in a minute. I'm gonna slow it down right here. And then there was this one. And there's so many more. And if y'all really don't want to act like demons don't exist, there was a rumor that CERN was haunted after the first time powering up. And then as of lately, they say they found a 4D ghost in the CERN particle accelerator. AKA, they found a demon, another entity above our dimension. For anybody saying it's a rocket, you are completely fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. And here is that one going back and forth. Look at that. That is insane, y'all. So does anyone want to tell me what all these demons were doing? Maybe this is why they brought up the demon face thing on the news.
This is what makes so it still makes me think we're living in a simulation. Seeing stuff like that, and every time I think about CERN, it just makes me nervous. I'm telling you, bro. It makes me nervous.
Well, the Vatican in 2 days' time will be holding a press conference about how to discern between supernatural phenomena and other apparitions, meaning ghosts. Friday, May 17th of 2024 at 12 p.m., a press conference will be held in the Holy See Press Office to present the new provisions of the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith for discerning between apparitions and other supernatural phenomena. The press conference will be live streamed in the original language on the Vatican News YouTube channel. But does this come on the back of some other news? An apparition refers to an instance in which a divine entity such as a saint, the Virgin Mary, or Christ himself makes itself known to a person on earth. I just want to point out that the last time the Vatican did this, held a press conference like this, was in 1978, 50 years ago. So why then are they doing it now? Well, let me tell you. Physicists capture elusive 4D ghost in CERN particle accelerator. Huh, interesting. if you don't know what CERN is, it's a huge machine that is found in Switzerland where they slam particles together and they're trying to find the God particle or dark matter. So they're the ones that have the 666 logo and also the God of Destruction, Shiva, as a statue outside their front door, you know? And they're the ones that put on a whole big thing and like turned on this big Hadron Collider. They only do it every few years, but they did this on the day of April 8th, the solar eclipse this year. And as they did that, certain things showed up. Well, now they've admitted that they found particles that they believe are ghosts or ghost particles, things that we shouldn't see, you know, in our everyday life. But now, because of the experiments that they're doing, they can see them. So is the Vatican responding to this with some kind of announcement on how to discern between apparitions and other spiritual phenomena? Are they trying to get ahead of the story? What's funny is CERN has decided to kind of do a little experiment. And this experiment is how we can make the visible visible. A lot of phenomena scientists at CERN investigate are invisible to our eyes. Okay, those phenomena, remember that word phenomena, yeah? How do scientists design clever experiments to understand things that aren't visible? Well, what you can sign up for, which is a workshop where participants will conduct a series of experiments to detect hidden structures inside a box. They will explore our human senses as detectors and use a special ping pong ball detector to make sense of the hidden structure. They will also use infrared cameras, another type of detector that makes another invisible property, temperature, visible. Now, infrared light is something that our eyes cannot see. We can't see that far on the spectrum. However, when you put infrared lights with night vision goggles, you end up getting something that is quite terrifying. Was terrifying to the World War soldiers of World War II. And they were saying with these goggles they could see apparitions and spiritual phenomena. They were even shooting at them with their pew-pews in the sky because they were seeing demons. So they had to take the infrared out of these goggles and make them green. So that's why night vision is usually green now. So what's funny about this experiment though, where they're using this, you know, infrared light and all these detectors, is that the age of the person that they're looking for is between 5 and 15 years old. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, children. They want to use children in this experiment. Wonder why? Because children are usually a little bit closer to the veil than we are. They're a little bit, you know, more susceptible to see beyond the veil than we are. Maybe that's why. So is the Vatican trying to get ahead of this story before they do the challenge, before they do the experiments? Are they trying to get ahead of the story because, you know, once CERN comes out and tells us that ghosts and apparitions are real, well, what are we going to do with our faith? We're going to turn to the Pope, no? Because we have no way of deciding these things for ourselves. And because ghosts are real, that means God's not real, I guess? So they have to get in front of the story. Well, I'll be watching on May 17th at 12 p.m. and I hope you'll join me.
That sounds like an episode of Stranger Things or something like that, bro. Now, when it comes to the Vatican, bro, I don't know what to believe anymore because I feel like they're responsible for a lot of the lies, possibly, you know what I mean? Allegedly, let's say that, you know? And then when it comes to CERN, I keep saying with CERN, bro, we don't know what's happening, what they're doing, and it could be at our detriment. Once you open Pandora's box, it's open.
Southern Hemisphere on April 9th, the day after the eclipse of 2024, around 2 p.m. And here we go. I'm going to step it forward 3 hours at a time. There it is. Shows up in the southern Atlantic Ocean, implying that there is a very large field of waves measuring 83.7 feet. And I couldn't help but notice the interesting shape of whatever's going on down here. More strange energy showing up in various places around the world. So I'm going to step it forward another 3 hours. It gets bigger and it gets bigger. We're going to step it forward another 3 hours, 11 p.m. on April 9th. Gets even bigger. We're going to step it forward again. Now we're into the 10th, and it is 2 a.m. Much bigger, uniformly moving to the north. 3 hours again, still moving to the north off the southwest coast of Africa, out in the Atlantic Ocean. Now it's even bigger. You can tell it's longer and wider. Stepping forward again, another 3 hours, 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m. on the 10th, 8 p.m. on the 10th, 11 p.m. on the 10th, and you can see now it's much bigger, showing a wider field. In fact, we're going to measure this area and get an approximate size of what's going on here, but this is at 11 p.m. on the 10th. Now we're stepping it forward yet again 3 hours, 2 a.m. on the 11th, and then going from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., it disappears off the map. I think what we're dealing with here is a USO. Not necessarily a rogue wave, but some sort of a large rogue object that was sending signals as if there was an 80-foot plus wave out here, when all along it possibly could have been some sort of a large underwater craft creating these wave anomalies.
Okay, folks, I've been to CERN. CERN is very, very weird. I was actually there a couple of years ago when Russ Dizdar was still alive, well before COVID. So we're there at CERN, and we're being taken by a docent who's like basically just parroting what he's been told to say. So we're in this place where the statue of Shiva. Shiva is the Indian god of death, basically the destroyer. And I look at the docent and I go, what's this doing here? He has no answer for it at all. Basically, here's the bottom line, and this is something that we need to really delve into here. CERN is built on the site of the ancient temple of Apollyon. Tom Horn, who passed away last year, very untimely, wrote about this. So CERN is at this ancient temple. They're going to open up and start using CERN or testing it the day of the eclipse. I mean, what are we looking at here? Is that deliberate? In my opinion, it's absolutely deliberate. Something is going on. Here's what I think is going on.
Thank you.
The powers that be, are opening up CERN in coordination with the eclipse to open up a gateway, a portal. And that's what I think these sites really are all about. Now, when you go to the Serpent Mound in Ohio, it doesn't look anything like CERN, but it's ancient. And it's just in Ohio. And it's the longest serpent effigy on the planet. Now, some people will dispute that, that's fine. But it's the one that I go to. And that Serpent Mound the serpent is undulating, and the serpent's mouth is open like this. Guess what? The whole thing is built on the solstices, the equinoxes. They're big into this. And these sites are charged. The site at CERN is charged. The Serpent Mound at Ohio is a charged site. If you want to know more, check out our On the Trail of a Nephilim series, number 2, number 3, Secrets of the Supernatural.
Here is the inventor, Daniel, and here are some of his photos. This one looks very much like an alien gray, maybe because it's gray, for instance, I'm not too sure. But this one looks rather bizarre. It looks something that belongs in a sci-fi movie. And this one kind of gives me Prometheus vibes going on right here. But for those looking at these photos, what are your thoughts on this? And we can discuss that before we continue. This one, we got the fire entity going on right here. Angel type entity. If people had this technology in hand, I mean, these would look something terrifying if you're looking at these. But if people had this technology in hand, would they reconsider what ghosts are, where maybe they could be these multi-dimensional entities instead?
So this is supposed to be a view over CERN. Looks pretty calm to me, which is even more scary to me, by the way. The calmness, I don't know why. When I think of different conspiracy theories with different things, i.e. CERN, to see it calm around there, yeah, that disturbs me.
Is anybody aware that CERN's testing its Hadron Collider on the day of the total solar eclipse? Does nobody find this sketchy? to search for invisible matter that secretly powers our universe, aka dark matter. Do keep in mind, this is after a 2-year hibernation with hopes of unraveling more mysterious, specifically dark matter. Scientists just recently began preliminary tests by sending billions of protons around the LHC's ring of superconducting magnets to boost their energy and ensure the $4 billion machine was in working condition. And get this right, they're going to continue the experiment until later this year, when it will then be put under a long hibernation for CERN to transform it into the next version, the High Luminosity LHC. Do keep in mind, the accelerator sits 300 feet underground at the border of France and Switzerland. And does nobody find it ironic that it first went live on September 10th, 2008, while everybody was distracted by the election? Now do keep in mind, like I stated at the beginning of the video, the last test was on March 8th, okay? Teams from around the world waited inside the underground lab for a glimpse at the beam circling inside the ring of the LHC. But you see, the first attempt this month did not go as planned after the beam only made it partially around. But after tinkering with the mechanics, the team watched in wonder as the beam circled the accelerator in less than 20 minutes. At full power, this is insane. Trillions of protons will race around the LHC accelerator ring 11,245 times a second and travel just 7 miles per hour less than the speed of light, people. And on April 8th, the team will send the beams through the tunnel where they will collide. The team will be on the hunt for dark matter, which makes up around 28% of our massive universe, but it has never been seen or proven. And the experiment is scheduled to occur the same day and the same time as the Great North American Solar Eclipse. And for some ungodly reason, people are not going to find this to be sketchy. But I'm not even sure people are even aware of what CERN is to even begin with. I highly implore everybody to look into the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory.
That's why we need to share videos and information and stuff like that, so more and more people can discover and learn about CERN. Like, more people need to know. But I can guarantee you watch it, you walk into like a conversation that's happening and you bring up CERN, probably 8 out of 10 people will be like, "What are you talking about?"
In Antarctica. And the specific experiments that they're testing. Because CERN does a lot of those experiments, specifically with neutrinos, to search for something called a muon. And when you place a muon in a strong enough electrical current, you might be able to produce a certain beam. Kind of like Maui, but I'm not going to lay claim to anything being true, because I already made a video about that months ago and I got issued a ton of violations for it. But I'm pretty sure people can put 2 and 2 together. I'm just saying, people, this should have everybody sketched out right now. And this literally just adds to all of the other events that are occurring in April alone. Like the 2 broods of cicadas that haven't managed to emerge since 1803, emerging directly in the totality path? I'm not going to state that that sounds biblical, but I mean, come on, people. Not that that really means anything. All religions really just tie into each other anyway. But God, it just feels like there's going to be some dark times ahead of us. And I'm sure it doesn't help that 4 days after the total solar eclipse, there just so happens to be a movie releasing in movie theaters called Civil War. So who knows what'll happen? But I do know that everybody needs to be mindfully aware of their surroundings. Because if you don't, you're simply going to be left behind in the age of this new Earth being formed.
This is not being broadcasted.
We have to prepare ourselves.
See what I mean?
This is so cool. What is that?
All the disbelievers and scoffers thought they got away and thought nothing was gonna happen. And y'all not even looking up. You the main ones watching the eclipse and y'all not even looking up and paying attention. My second question is, when did CERN cut the machine on? The people who really do research, they know that CERN is gonna cut the machine on, but as the looks of this video, look like something already came up out of there. If you haven't watched this movie yet, go and watch this movie while you got a chance. It's called Day of Reckoning, and it's about the eclipse. And this one looks like flew by the moon just a while ago. Tick-tock, sinners, the day of accountability is here.
Now, the interesting thing about that is, right, and he made me think with that, as far as CERN, them cutting CERN on, and the eclipse could be a direct result of them cutting that machine on. You ever thought about it that way? You know? And this is just conspiracy brain me talking. I know nothing, right? But what if that's a direct result of them cutting that machine on, the eclipse? How else could they know so much about it? How it's going to go, where, you know, the times, different things about how can they pinpoint it so well? This is all speculative now. I hate that word. This is all speculative. I got it that time. You know what I mean? Like, we really need to band together and demand more transparency with CERN.
Okay. We're all familiar with this place, right? Of course. If you don't know symbology and all of that, I mean, it goes so much deeper than CERN. But stay with me. This is at CERN as well, and most of these locations, CERN, the UN buildings, that's where I'm getting at, is the new UN building in Africa. But I'm just pointing these things out first. Another one in the middle of CERN. Symbology. Now this is the center of the new UN building in Dakar, Africa. This is the bird's eye view of it. Plenty of symbology there. Let's dig in. Similar. You see the same, very similar circle with the... I'm not gonna say any of it out loud. Y'all got eyes. This is the middle, the finished center of the UN building in Dakar. Look at that globe. Yeah, that globe. Interesting. Look at all of these solar panels surrounding it. You know, and another thing, if we're blocking out the sun, how do they intend on solar working? But anyways, that's beside what I'm getting at here, y'all. Stay with me. This is it in the middle of production. In that middle there. So I decided I was going to pull it up on Google Earth. Before I do that, here's just one more example. This is real, okay? Now this is my own screen recording on Google Earth. And as we zoom in, here is the building. You guys can find it for yourselves. There is that center globe. Because if I say the other, it'll flag me. We're gonna zoom in here because there is a point where you can do like a road view. But notice it also, aside from the symbology, it is very similar to the shape of a hurricane. Here we zoom in. And below that emblem in the center, you're gonna come to learn, like I did, that there is a massive pool of water in the center. Interesting. We're all aware of how much this place affects our skies, our weather. We know that there's weather modification happening as well. So aside from the symbology, when you think about hurricanes and going back to the UN building, this guy, and then you think of the path and where hurricanes are said to start, right? So here we go. So in the first paragraph, it talks about how most hurricanes can form anywhere, but they typically form off the west coast of Africa near the Cape Verde Islands. Where's that, you ask? Cabo Verde. This is the Cape Verde Islands off the side of Africa. Where's Dakar? You see it right there, right? That's interesting. And then you go dig in at NASA and NOAA and dig into, hurricanes, and NASA will also use weather radar located both Dakar, Senegal, which is exactly what the UN building is located in and called. Cape Verde, and instruments of NASA satellites such as the Tropical Rainfall Monitoring Mission, CloudSat, and Calypso. Go dig into that, y'all, please. But here again, from NASA themselves, scientists will operate during the month of August through September from the Cape Verde Islands off the west coast of Africa. And science mission dictatorial, blah, 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 blah. Okay? What does the United Nations system in Senegal support? Well, they support the country's development efforts through the implementation of the 2035 Emerging Senegal Plan, the Sustainable Developmental Goals of the 2030 Agenda. The United Nations supports Senegal in particular by implementing the 3 strategic priorities of the United Nations Developmental Assistance Framework. Okay, Agenda 2030. Wasn't that a conspiracy? You can pause and read this. This is basically a history of the 2030 Agenda. But it goes right to this other conspiracy, right? That was a conspiracy as well. Are you guys catching on here to what I'm throwing out? If you think this is just a meeting building for the UN, dig deeper, please. Because I can't quite lay it out much more obvious than they already do, and by walking through it with you. I mean, they don't have anything to do with these people either, right? I'm just gonna end with this. The shape is inspired by a watermill or a sun whose rays evoke concentration, which we know about sun gazing, but also radiation. What an oxymoron, hypocritical statement. CERN, inside of CERN. Y'all can dig all this up by downloading Google Earth, and you can actually see the photos that people have posted while visiting these places. I wonder if there's water under that one too.
Everyone on TikTok has been lying to you about this particle accelerator being booted up today during the solar eclipse, and I'm going to show you guys the proof to back it up. Do not worry, this is not going to be a problem today. Everybody's just throwing in the conspiracy theories. Y'all know how TikTok is. Let's get into it.
So who do we believe then? How do we know to believe you about it?
So the claim is CERN will start up April 8th to open up a portal during the eclipse. That's false. It all started from someone on Facebook made a post, and then it got over 1,000 shares. People found out about that post, and then they started spreading a whole bunch of rumors and stuff like that. And y'all know how social media gets. One thing is said and then it gets taken out of proportion. So it got proven that it was false. The post is wrong about both of the timing and the nature of CERN's work. CERN, the equipment beginning operating in March, a month before the eclipse, and the technology is nowhere near strong enough to open a portal or a black hole. This was from someone directly at CERN. What we do at CERN is doing particle physical with accelerators such as large, I don't know how to say that, whatever, I'm not even gonna get into it. And this has little to do with astrologists, indirect ways, whatever this person said. And CERN couldn't create a portal even if it wanted to. This person said right here, a physical professor at the University at Buffalo previously told USA Today. To create a black hole or a wormhole, even microscopic ones, with our current technology, in this context of standard theorists of gravity, they're basically saying that even if they wanted to, they literally can't. They can't. So with that...
Why? Why did they not elaborate on that? Because we need that. What will follow that statement is we need this, this, and this, which implies that you already know how to create one. How do you know that information? So you got to read in between the lines sometime.
With that being said, don't believe everything you see on social media, guys. We're good. Only the eclipse is happening today. Ain't nobody about to open up a multiverse and Spider-Man and freaking a whole bunch of Marvel characters are going to be popping out. And also people are saying that the Flash is going to show up. Why the hell would the Flash show up during a part? Bro, what? Don't believe everything you see on TikTok, bro. They're capping. They're capping.
I'm not even playing this time. Y'all keep with me. Where the are the green ones? I know Apple Jacks is a little orange and green cereal.
So y'all, be mindful of this planet. Be mindful of the energy. Always look at the sky, bro. Right? Look at the sky. Let's talk about this CERN. I ain't gonna speak too long on it. But if you was on that live, Yahoo something, watching the CERN, watching everybody saying this is the end, and they don't want powers and all this extra stuff, right? That's not us speaking that. That's not us, right? That's them, right? I think if you know what I'm talking about, y'all know what I'm talking about. That's not us, that's them. Because we want our powers. We want to get rid of these, right? I'm going to post this picture. You ain't going to see not one of us in that picture.